How's it going, BCHL fans? Ian Wilson alongside the incredible Dan Marshall, the voice of the Nanaimo Clippers, ahead of the opening round of the BCHL Rogers Cup playoffs. Dan, thank you very much for taking the time out of the, I'm sure, busy schedule. You were saying that the playoff prep is already well underway.
It has to be, yeah. Well, and you were saying earlier as we were talking off air that sometimes it's nice to prepare for a series well in advance. Some teams had that luxury. In Nanaimo, they certainly did not. Literally, the third to last game of the entire BCHL schedule, the last game for both Nanaimo and Victoria, had playoff implications. And interestingly enough, that game made it so they're not facing each other in the opening round.
I know, it's every moment matters, as you said. Every whistle counts, and it's great to see these teams switched on until the very, very end of the season. And for you guys and the Nanaimo Clippers, it has been a pretty darn successful season. You've had a lot of really big moments along the way. And to what do you attribute that to, just the overall success that Nanaimo has seen this season?
Well, a good summer of recruiting and a very solid team. I think of at the start of the year, guys that won the Centennial Cup, and Landon Pappas and Hayden Fechner coming to Nanaimo, a championship duo with pedigree. Pappas was the Clippers' leading scoring defenseman. Fechner finished as the team's second leading scorer. So that was some really good recruiting from one area out of Calgary. And then a second half surge with the likes of Blake Jones and Caden Okabita coming into the team. The additions late of Miller Kay and Drew Roloff. So what you had was a team that was playing pretty well, a good team, but kind of in that mix where Victoria and Alberni were, and everyone behind Cowichan in the Coastal West Division. But there was a surge in January, and similarly, the Clippers had a surge last January as well. So that's now two early calendar success stories in a row for Nanaimo, but they did eclipse their point total and win total from the previous season, got to 30 wins, which was a goal of the team. So I think you look at the player personnel and maybe also the stability of Colin Burkus, who's been around this program for a long time as an assistant coach and then a head coach. And so you factor in a lot of things. Anytime you have a successful season, it can never just be about one thing.
Mm-hmm. Indeed, and it's led you now to this opening round where you guys get the Alberni Valley Bulldogs. Talk about the new format for the playoffs and having to play through the division to make it out to the conference finals. And so you've got some local rivalries, and it doesn't get much better than a local rivalry like Alberni and Nanaimo, just both geographically wise and history wise.
No, certainly not. Interesting for Nanaimo that it hasn't necessarily been this divisional format, but it has been now 3 years in a row they'll face a different Vancouver Island team. 2024 first round Victoria, the Clippers lost that series in 5. Last year, Cowichan, Nanaimo lost that series in 5, but they didn't have home ice, which they have this year. So they'll be taking on the Alberni Valley Bulldogs, and history tells us it's the first time since the last pre-COVID series of 2020 when those two teams played. Nanaimo swept Alberni with future, I guess, and current NHLer Tim Washy on that Nanaimo team. It was a 4-game sweep, and then just as the Clippers were getting ready for round 2, COVID-19 came. So there's some weird memories around the last Nanaimo Alberni series back in 2020.
Absolutely. And what can we expect from this current edition of these teams, especially when you look at the season series? What are we expecting as the playoff atmosphere descends upon these two?
Well, I think the playoff atmosphere should be great. Both teams travel well with fans. It's only a 60-minute drive between the two cities, so I think you'll see a lot of Alberni fans at Frank Crane Arena when the series begins on Friday and Saturday. Clipper fans will travel well over the hump as well for games 3 and 4. Nanaimo was 4-2-1 in the regular season series, so they're very confident heading in, but we had a couple of overtime games within that series as well. So I think you can say that this is going to be extremely close. It's 2 versus 3. It's not the widespread that maybe sometimes the 1 versus 4 can be. So I would expect a close, a hard-fought series. Two teams that know each other well and certainly respect each other as well.
Absolutely. Last thing I got for you, Dan, just give us your final thoughts on this regular season and maybe a message for the fans ahead of this playoff push.
Well, for Nanaimo, certainly an exciting season, to get to 30 wins, to see some players like Sam Boisvert, who's just played his 3rd season in Nanaimo, 138 games, if memory serves. Wow. A couple of neat milestones just in the past couple of weeks with Elliot Perreault and Finn Calais playing in their 100th games, like 100th career games in the BCHL, Perot, all of those with Nanaimo. I think fans were really starting to buy in and enjoy some guys that have been here for a while. I mentioned Boisvert, Tanner Brender, 2-year guy, Jack Rimmer, a 2-year guy. And, 2-year guys aren't as common as they used to be in the BCHL anymore. There's so many guys that come in, and because of their NCAA aspirations, they only get to play for one season. So this will be a team that, fans have gotten to know with some of those core guys that I talked about. And there's been just excitement that this team has been very good from stem to stern, but especially in 2026, the team's been fun to watch. And they were road heavy at the start. In 2026, they were home heavy. And so fans have gotten to see the Clippers in person a lot more, including a recent 6-game homestand in the month of March. There was a little bit of disappointment because the Clippers had a lot of 3-week stretches where they'd be away from Frank Crane Arena. Fans couldn't be there, but the fans were loving it as the March weather got better. They got to come to the arena and enjoy the Nanaimo Clippers, and it wasn't always freezing cold outside when you left the building.
And I'm sure you guys brought the heat at Frank Crane as well, too. Well, thank you very much, Dan. Appreciate you taking the time out, and best of luck as the playoffs get underway.
Thank you so much.
How's it going, BCHL fans? Ian Wilson alongside Marlon Martens for the Alberni Valley Bulldogs ahead of this playoff push. And Marlon, thank you very, very much for taking the time out to have this discussion. And I know definitely not an easy situation with what's gone on in Alberni this season, but from all of us at the league and fans of the Bulldogs, definitely want to say thank you and to Kyle Ireland for stepping in and being still able to bring Bulldogs hockey out to the BCHL and beyond.
Well, appreciate that, and thanks for having me, and to the Bulldogs fans as well. No one can replace the Hammer, and all I can do is ask for their grace as we try to get the games to the fans here.
Very much so. And for the Alberni Valley Bulldogs, the season come and gone, and a lot of big moments on the ice for this team. They've been building towards this playoff push, and we'll just start with those fans that you talked about. The Dog Pound. You've had the chance to be there. It is loud. It is proud. The playoff atmosphere there is going to be second to none.
Yeah, they had well over 12, maybe 1,300 the last couple of games. That really packs that barn. And it was my first experience there last weekend. And when the Bulldogs scored, I nearly jumped out of my shorts. It was this horn went off, and my ears blew off, and the fans, and just that energy alone propelled the team to come back. They had a slow start. They gave up a goal in the opening minute. They get the shorthanded goal, and the place comes alive. And right after that, they get another one, and they're rolling. They never look back. They score 6 unanswered and win the game. So they can really fuel the boys. They're the extra man for sure.
And when it's come to this team, I mean, you've had the chance to be on the road with them a little bit as well. It's been a pretty cohesive unit. They got a lot of returning guys, but then also some new, fresh faces that have really kind of injected some life into this lineup to build momentum here in this 25-26 season.
Yes, and also they missed some bodies down the stretch too.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew went out with injury. He missed 10 out of 11 games. He was their leading scorer at the time, and their captain, Caden Tremblay, missed a spell of games too. So now it seems like they're getting closer to full health, and with those new players injected in the lineup, finding their groove, getting that chemistry in the gel, it's kind of coming together really nicely right now for them, and at the right time.
Absolutely. And now with the opening round upon us, we get the Nanaimo Clippers. And I mean, this is a group that no strangers, at least geographically, the new divisional locked first couple of rounds, there's going to be some really exciting hockey, and especially just those local grassroots rivalries just seem to mean so much more.
They do, and they are the closest geographical rival, as you mentioned. And that also means opposition fans in the other team's buildings, too. There's going to be fan buses going back and forth. It's a short trip, right? It's just about an hour or so, and that'll make it even more electric. And when the visiting team has their home fans in the barn, they've got more support as well for them that way. So when these two teams meet, it's always a good clash. And then you look at the season series between the teams, both teams winning a game in overtime, a lot of tight games. The Bulldogs went 3-3, 1-0 against them this year. So yeah, they're really close. Both teams about, playing around 500 hockey or down the stretch. So it's going to be a great matchup.
And you yourself, no stranger to the broadcast booth. You had a long, illustrious tenure with the Victoria Royals and a VIJHL Broadcaster of the Year nod with the West Shore Wolves this year. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was quite an honor, and I was very surprised with it as well. So sorry to Kyle Ireland for taking it away. I think he had it for 10 years in a row. So
100%. And to that point, what is it in your experience that just separates regular season hockey from the playoffs? I mean, everybody knows that just some kind of switch flips when it comes to postseason hockey.
it is a new season and the season resets. Everybody's at zero. It's a clean slate and things get tighter. Every mistake is amplified. Everybody brings it on every shift. There's no, shifts off. Everybody is so dialed in. And again, the extra fan support. I mean, it is next level hockey and it can't be beat.
Wonderful. Last thing, just give us your final thoughts or maybe a message for the fans ahead of this opening round against Nanaimo.
Yeah, I think that the Bulldogs are coming into their own here at the right time. The way that they've been playing as of late, even though sometimes there have been some losses, they have been out chancing teams, just having things just if they make a mistake, it ends up in the back of the net. But they have they bring their work boots, bring the lunch pails. They always come to work. They're physical, stingy. They'll grind you out. This is a team that is built for the playoffs. They've got a nice blend of size and skill on the back end. Derek Brouillard's big, calm netminder. Mm-hmm. He's grabbed the lion's share of the games down the stretch. I believe he played 11 out of the 14. So he's ready to go, and he's battle-tested, ready for the playoffs. And then up front, a nice blend of scoring. And they've been getting some secondary scoring up front as well. So the special teams, it comes down to goaltending, physicality, the war of attrition, and getting some clutch scoring, maybe some secondary scoring, some depth, and the discipline too is going to be key in this one. They're going to have to walk the line, but I think you got to grind it out. It's like a boxing match. You got to lay those hits early, and then they pay dividends later on in the rounds. But I think this one could go the distance.
100%. Well, thank you very much, Marlon, and best of luck as the playoffs get underway.
Thanks for having me, Ian.
How's it going, BCHL fans? Ian Wilson alongside Tom Wilke, the intrepid broadcaster of the Victoria Grizzlies. Tom, another season in the books. How did things go for you?
They were good. It was definitely an interesting season, though ups and downs, as everyone has. But really excited to be going back to the playoffs. We got a taste of it last year, going to a conference final for the first time in 2019, and I think all the staff are very much so wanting to get back to there because we have just one guy left from the team who went last year. So the staff think about it, I think, a little bit more than the players do, but everyone's hungry to try and get back to that same spot.
Well, and I mean, every team is going to have new bodies coming through the door, but especially for you guys this year, the Grizzlies had quite a bit of roster turnover, but despite all that, you've still managed to remain a cohesive unit and come up with some big games, especially down the stretch.
Yeah, we had a really, really big second half, pardon. It's no secret that we didn't have a lot of returning guys coming back from last year, as what happens when you have a good team. Guys go to college, guys graduate. The older teams are the more successful ones. And then some guys didn't work out this year. And with some of the rule changes, we lost some, which, is its own argument. But we really stuck to it. And the teams that I think are successful are the ones that can come through adversity and come out on the other side at the light of the tunnel at the end. And I think we're a group that is that way. We've come out on the other side of it after some tumultuous movement, and we found a group that we like, and we're happy with where we are.
Absolutely. And one of those key pieces being Maddox Martin. I mean, 3 goals in his first 20-something games, comes over in the Mackey for Martin swap, and 17 goals to finish off the season with you guys. He has been a very, very bright part of the Grizzlies' 25-26 tenure.
Yeah, he has. I mean, I'm biased. I watch it with black and gold sunglasses, but he, in my opinion, is one of the best, if not the best players in the league. And he has been for the last couple of years in Salmon Arm. There's no question about that. And, for whatever reason, things weren't going his way at the start of the year. And I wrote it the other day. It's how much so a change of perspective can do for somebody and a change of scenery. And it certainly showed. The 17 goals with us. I mean, it's not even just the goals, it's his presence with the team, the way he carries himself. He's played now over 200 games in the league. He's someone who you want to go into the fight with, and we're going to lean on in the playoffs. He's got 36 games of BCHL playoff experience as well. So he has been just an unreal addition to our roster.
And now the opening round, and you guys coming away with Cowichan to kick things off for the BCHL playoffs. How are things looking going up against the Capitals?
Well, they're a good team. There's no question about that. But I think we also have belief in ourselves. We're one of just 3 teams that's beat them more than once this year. We beat them 3 times this year and twice here in the second half. We're coming off maybe our best game of the year when we beat them 5-3 here at home on the 27th. So I think the most important part for our group is that we believe, and that's a huge part of it, whether or not, the skill or whatever it may be. You have belief and you can do a heck of a lot with that. And I think our group certainly has that. And we like, a lot of the stuff that we have with, you think of Mikas between the pipes. He's been so big for us. So we believe in our guys at the top of the lineup, who we've got in goal, the guys on the back end. And that's really, really important for us.
100%. Any final words or a message for the fans as we rush right into the playoffs?
Sit back and enjoy. This ought to be an interesting one. Battle of the Malahat for a second straight year. So I think that means, if I do quick math, a possible 20 games in one calendar year between 2 teams that don't like each other much. So it could be a fun one. So sit back and relax.
The memories certainly are not short. So here we go. Well, thank you very much, Tom, and good luck as the opening round approaches.
Thanks, Ian. Appreciate it.
How's it going, BCHL fans? Ian Wilson alongside Nick Arnold from the Cowichan Capitals, the voice of Cowichan Valley, and a return to the BCHL after a brief hiatus as we get the chance to talk to you ahead of your team's big playoff push. Nick, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. Thanks for your time, Ian. Appreciate you.
Likewise, thank you very much for joining, being a part of the broadcaster check-in around the horn. And so just talk to us first. How did the season go for you out in Cowichan?
Pretty well. Pretty well. It was an interesting start. I came into the role around December, but before that I was working as the in-arena host for a little bit. It really gave me an opportunity to meet everybody in the organization and see what goes on during game day. I'm sure you're aware that when you're in the broadcast, we don't get as much of a chance to see what's going on around like the course of an actual game day. And that was really insightful for me, and excited to be back in the broadcast booth and ready for a nice playoff push. The Caps are the best they've been in like 30 years. So excited to see what they'll be able to do.
Oh, yeah. The coaching staff have done an excellent job of building this team back up to this championship caliber squad that we have seen come forth this year out of the Coastal West. And I mean, you guys were hot to start the season. What do you attribute the success of this Caps team this year to come away as the Coastal West divisional champs?
It's, well, a couple of things. First of all, it's the Cam Keith effect. He had a tremendous success in Surrey building a certain style of team, right? Won the championship, then came out to Cowichan. And I mean, if you're somebody who can assemble a championship team, first of all, players want to play for someone who is capable of that. And second, players Cam has the blueprint and an ability to know what it takes to build a championship team. So a couple of those things really have helped him turn this hockey program around in Cowichan really quickly. And it's been really cool to see over the last couple of years. And some of the things are like some seeds that he sowed last season are really coming to bear fruit this season. Like Anthony Hall was talking about how Cam was talking to him last November, trying to get him to come out to Cowichan. And then he shows up this year, becomes the team's leading scorer. Like it is a bit of a process when you're assembling a team, as I'm sure you're aware of. And it's cool to see Cowichan really turn things around in a couple of seasons.
Absolutely. And now you guys have the Victoria Grizzlies coming up in this opening round. And I mean, now with the new divisional locked first few rounds, some really local rivalries. I mean, the Battle of the Malahat, as Tom Wilke was calling it, you guys have the opportunity to go up against a team that you know very, very well. Yeah.
7-game series is not something that would surprise me between these two teams. Last year, it was like 2 very different teams were playing, but honestly, it wouldn't surprise me to see like a similarly tight and hard-fought series. The season series was bonkers. It was like one night, Cowichan's winning 6-2, then Victoria kind of blew the wheels off of Cowichan the last time they played. We've had 8-7 finals where the lead changed more times than, well, I don't have a good metaphor, but more times than I changed my underwear through the course of a week, which is frequent enough, Ian, not that you needed to know that. But, it's interesting. These teams are really well matched up against each other. Victoria, the more size, the more physically imposing team. Cowichan, a little bit more skill-based, speed-based. So one team's going to really need to assert their will, and we'll see which team's able to do it. Really looking forward to it, and looking forward to the easy travel schedule.
And especially a lot of teams are looking forward to see what a playoff version of Cowichan can roll out. Because, I mean, throughout the season, you guys have very much been kind of the epitome of a run and gun style. You've had that fluid flowing offense, everybody getting involved, and it's been pretty to watch.
Well, that's the other thing is, throughout the course of the season, Cowichan, when's the last time they played a meaningful game? Was it in December?
Mm-hmm.
Has it been that long? I don't know. So it's going to be interesting to see how the guys can handle it, how they get themselves ramped up for a playoff series where, you're starting from scratch. You're no longer the Coastal Conference champions. You are just a team in the playoffs trying to get all those wins in. And you're back on a level playing field. It's going to be fun to watch, man. It's going to be a really fun series. I'm looking forward to it.
Starting from square one. Last thing I got for you, Nick, just give us your final thoughts on this 25-26 season, a bit of a message for the fans ahead of this playoff push.
Well, for fans in Cowichan, I've been trying to tell them, first of all, excited we're going to be back on the radio. 89.7 Sun FM is broadcasting the games on the airwaves through the playoff push, so you can listen in there if you're in Cowichan. But honestly, this is the best that the Cowichan Capitals have been since I've been alive. I'm born in 96. Since I've been alive, the Cowichan Capitals have not had a better team. And if you're a fan of the Capitals, if you're interested in the Capitals, this is the season. This is the postseason to watch them or make your way to a game, because they are quite something to see.
100%. Well, thank you very much for taking the time out, Nick, and best of luck as the playoffs get underway.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. I love your mustache. That's a good Tom Selleck you got going on, man.
It's the firefighter stash. Recently joined local community departments, so I had to get rid of the glorious beard.
That's remarkable. That's cool.
Awesome. Well, looking forward to hearing the calls in the opening round, brother.
Thanks, dude.